Chapter 141. Guest. The middle-aged man wore a virescent robe. He had a smile on his face, and he was built tall and strong. As he stood there, he looked like a small hill. His arms were long. Even if his chi was not emitted, there was still a looming might coming from him. As he looked at Su Ming too observed him. "It's fine. I like Fang Mu," Su Ming said calmly and moved forward. There were about dozens of steps between him and Fang Mu's father. As he walked forward, the distance gradually shortened. Yet the closer he came, the more clearly he could feel the pressure from the man gradually becoming stronger. When they were just 5 steps away from each other, that pressure arrived at its strongest. This was a test, a clear test with no intention of being hidden. The man stood there and looked at Su Ming moving towards him with a smile. This tower was the domain of the tribe leader of Tranquil East tribe. Only powerful berserkers could step foot in there. The same applied for those in the tribe. Those who were not outstanding could only remain outside. When he was 9 steps away from the tribe leader of Tranquil East tribe, Su Ming suddenly took a big step forward with his right foot. That step alone breached a distance of 10 feet, and he arrived within the 5 steps of the tribe leader. The tribe leader's robes suddenly expanded, causing Su Ming's footstep to falter, as if he could not place his foot down. He looked as if he was about to withdraw. Yet at that moment, a strange light appeared in Su Ming's eyes. He met the tribe leader's gaze and the man's body swayed. A sharp pain suddenly appeared in his head, and he had no choice but to lessen the pressure coming from his body. The moment he lessened the pressure, Su Ming's foot landed. "I, Mo Su, greet the tribe leader of Tranquil East." Su Ming wrapped his fist around his palm and bowed towards the man before him. The expression of the man in virescent robes remained the same, and he took 1 step back, making a way to the tower. He too wrapped his fist around his palm towards Su Ming. "Brother Mo, this might be our first meeting, but the moment I saw you, it is as if I met an old friend. If you don't mind, you can call me Fang Shen. Come, Brother Mo, this way." Fang Shen let out a boisterous laugh and a friendly look appeared on his face. "Brother Fang, if you please." Su Ming nodded and walked into the tower with Fang Shen. Fang Mu let out a sigh of relief in his heart when he saw that scene from a distance. It was rare for him to see his father treat others this way, so it was clear that Senior Mo had once again obtained his father's approval. He pondered over it for a moment and chose not to leave, but instead waited outside the door. The inside of the tower was decorated in a simple manner. There were not a lot of luxurious items around, giving it a natural feeling. Everything inside was made of stone. Once Fang Shen invited Su Ming to sit at a stone table, he personally brought out some herbs. After boiling them in hot water, he poured the liquid into a cup and placed it before Su Ming. "Brother Mo, thank you for treating my son's injuries over the years. I have nothing to repay you with. This grasswood leaf may be precious, but it's still not enough to be served to you. I hope you don't mind." Fang Shen looked at Su Ming with gratitude. Su Ming looked at the leaves floating in the hot water in the cup on the table. It looked very normal, but this was not the first time Su Ming saw something like this. He had seen the elder drinking a similar liquid with Jing Nan when he was by the elder's side in Windstream tribe, and he also took note of some of the actions the elder did when he drank this liquid. Fang Mu's injuries have been lying in his body for many years. I've only slightly lessened their effects. Su Ming might be looking now like how he usually acted, but in truth, he was rather nervous. He could already tell the tribe leader's power from that instant before. This person might not have awakened, but there were 900-something blood veins within his body. By right, it should not be a problem if this man wanted to awaken, but he had yet to, which meant that he was aiming higher. He wanted to wait till he obtained the full number for his blood veins before he awakened. If that was the case, then even if he was just at the initial stage of the awakening realm, he could still fight against those at the middle stage of the awakening realm. The blood veins were like a foundation. The more blood veins a berserker had, the stronger the foundation was. The moment he let it all out, the effects would be shocking. However, this was not the reason why Su Ming was nervous. He was nervous because since young, and even after he came to the land of South Morning, he spent most of his time alone. He did not have too much experience conversing with people. It was even rarer for him to be in situations where he had to sit down and enter into talks akin to negotiations. Besides, even Jing Nan would have to be polite towards this man due to his status. Fang Shen smiled and grabbed the cup. He took a sip, but he did not like the leaves floating on the surface of the water. When some of the leaves went into his mouth along with the water, he swallowed it. This person's power is as hard to ascertain as usual. Let's say he hasn't awakened, but he has fine control, and his aura is hard to grasp. He also made me feel a strong sense of danger just now. But if I assume that he has awakened, he had a lot of trouble with those last 5 steps. Still, that one gaze just now was terrifying. It alone made me feel as if I was seen through, and it made my qi unstable. This person is mysterious. But why does he seem to be slightly nervous? Fang Shen put down the cup and looked at Su Ming. We are now nearing the day of eternal creation. The entire land of South Morning is shrouded in fog. It is also an important moment for the 3 tribes in Han Mountain. All entry to the tribes has been sealed off. I hope you understand. Why is it that you have come to my tribe? Fang Shen spoke with a smile. There was a leaf in his mouth that he did not manage to swallow. As he spoke, he brought up the cup to his lips once again and swallowed the leaf when he took another sip. This thing is really troublesome when I'm trying to drink it. Fang Mu's aren't brought it back, if you're not used to it. Fang Shen swallowed his words. He saw Su Ming taking up the cup, and with one light swing of the cup, the tea leaves were scattered skillfully, causing some of them to sink to the bottom, and the others to get stuck to the side of the cup. Naturally, after playing around with it for a while, Su Ming did not drink the liquid, but chose to put down the cup. Fang Shen immediately noticed that Su Ming had 2 fingers around the cup and swung it with his palm acting as the center. There was a graceful air in his action, and it made Fang Shen blink. He saw this same action on his little sister before. In fact, his little sister had even taught him how to drink that liquid and how to hold the cup, but Fang Shen had thought it was troublesome and did not want to learn it. Yet when he saw Su Ming's actions and remembered how he held the cup, even drinking down the tea leaves, he felt a little awkward. I came here because I wanted to become Tranquil East Tribe's guest. Gradually, Su Ming's heart calmed down. He was imitating the elder's movements from that time and had a feeling that he had become the elder at that moment. Oh! Fang Shen lifted his head and looked at Su Ming with a polite smile. He was the tribe leader of Tranquil East Tribe and was not as rough and simple as he seemed to be. Su Ming knew that his ploys were child's play before this person's eyes. He knew that he was lacking, so he decided to keep some secrets to himself while being honest. I want to go to the hidden grounds in the canyons of Han Mountain, which is where the sky flute branch grows, Su Ming said calmly. An almost unnoticeable glint appeared in Fang Shen's eyes. He did not realize that Su Ming would be so straightforward. In truth, Fang Shen had already guessed why Su Ming had come here a long while ago. He did not reject Su Ming's request immediately. After all, this person was the one who had healed Fang Mu's injuries. Second, this was not the first time he communicated with Su Ming. The 2 of them had known about each other for the past couple years. They even came into contact during the return and the gifting of the blade. If it were not because of these reasons, if any other stranger would have come to him and made that request, Fang Shen would have definitely rejected them. Give me a reason. Fang Shen looked at Su Ming, and a serious expression came upon his face. He had researched Su Ming's identity in detail over the past few years. After all, this person was in close contact with Fang Mu. This fact alone was enough to garner Fang Shen's attention. The results of the investigation came out a long time ago, and by Fang Mu's descriptions and Fang Shen's own judgments, he had a 9 out of 10 certainty that this mysterious Mo Su was not from around Han Mountain. He came from someplace else and was not familiar with this place. The possibilities of him knowing about the secrets of Han Mountain City were also low. More importantly, this person did not seem to have any ill intentions. This was not a decision made based on observations done in 1 or 2 days, but the feeling Fang Mu and Fang Shen obtained from Su Ming's inconspicuous attitude and behavior during the past 4 years. His mysterious power, amiable attitude, status, and background that had nothing to do with Han Mountain were all things that made Fang Shen think highly of him. That was why he gave Su Ming a chance to persuade him. I told Fang Mu that I was a seventh of a chance certain that I could cure his injuries with the medicinal concoction I'm making. This medicinal concoction is very important to me. One of its effects will allow me to cure Fang Mu's injuries completely. Right now, I am lacking Sky Flute Branch to create this medicinal concoction. In truth, I asked Fang Mu to search for this herb for me to reduce the need for me to look for this herb in the future when I need to create this concoction again. If the hidden grounds of Han Mountain City has Sky Flute Branch, then there is a high possibility that other herbs exist in the place as well. If I can find more, then it'll be a great help for me when I create the medicinal concoction, Su Ming said languidly. He did not place emphasis on the effects of the medicinal concoction towards healing Fang Mu's injuries. If that was the case, then it would make the other party feel as if he was being pressured and would end up disliking Su Ming. It would not do him any good either. Instead, it would be better to emphasize the benefits of the concoction towards himself and subtly reveal some of his own thoughts that would make the other party wonder. Fang Shen fell into momentary silence before he spoke suddenly. There is danger within the hidden grounds of Han Mountain. What berserker art do you practice? The berserker art of killing, Su Ming narrowed his eyes and answered calmly. What sort of injury does my son have? An injury that is caused by an illusionary spirit materialized from a berserker mark of a powerful berserker that is at least at the middle stage of the awakening realm. When Su Ming observed Fang Mu's injury in the past, he discovered this using fine control. That was why he was certain that spirit plunder could cure that injury. He was not certain about it in the past, but as his power increased and he thought more about it, he obtained a clearer answer. As for how Tranquillese tribe provoked a powerful berserker at the middle stage of the awakening realm and why it happened, Su Ming was not too curious about it. If you enter the hidden grounds and find other herbs, then how certain are you of curing Mu'er's injuries? If you can't, then what of your chances? Fang Shen asked once again. Su Ming fell into contemplative silence for a moment before he answered. For the former, I will judge according to the situation, but it should be more than an eighth. As for the latter, it is still a seventh of a chance. Brother Mo, since you're already here in Tranquillese tribe, then stay here for the time being. I will need to think about this. Fang Shen fell silent for a while before he got up and wrapped his fist around his palm towards Su Ming. Su Ming stood up and once he returned the greeting to Fang Shen, he walked out of the tower. A moment after he left, a woman walked down from the first floor of the tower. Kang Lan, what do you think of this person? Fang Shen turned around and looked at the woman who sat down where Su Ming was sitting just a moment ago. Chapter 142, Those Disappeared Years. She was a woman in purple robes with petite features which made her look pretty. She was not tall, but her petite figure made her look attractive. She was also very fair, her skin looking as if it would be torn if wind blew against it. Her eyes were closed as she sat in Su Ming's seat. Her eyelashes were very long and as they fluttered, causing her entire being to have a different air compared to Han Feizi. This demeanor was different from Han Feizi's cold attitude and Bai Ling's wild beauty. She gave people an impression of peacefulness, as if she was an orchid in a valley. She had a very beautiful face that did not reveal her age. Now that she sat there, she looked as if she had become one with the tower. Fang Shen looked at the woman before him with a doting look in his eyes. This was his only little sister. When she was young, the tribe did not pay too much attention to her, and her power was not great either. Her quiet attitude also made others neglect her most of the time. Yet no one expected that this seemingly fragile woman would challenge the chains of Han Mountain 10 years ago at only the 7th level of the blood solidification realm for a reason only Fang Shen knew in the entire tribe. For the 3 tribes of Han Mountain City, the chains of Han Mountain were something made for outsiders. It was no reason for the people of the tribe to take up the challenge. Every single time Freezing Sky Clan took in disciples, they would choose the prodigies from the 3 tribes. Even if less than 10 people had been chosen from the 3 tribes over the past hundreds of years, there was still hope. However, if they were not chosen and still wanted to enter Freezing Sky Clan, then they would need to obtain the right to enter the clan by challenging the chains of Han Mountain like an outsider. No one expected it. Not even Fang Shen expected his little sister, Fang Kang Lan, to challenge the chains of Han Mountain at only the 7th level of the blood solidification realm. The things that happened 10 years ago would often appear in Fang Shen's mind. This woman whom no one had really paid much attention to managed to go up to the 6th chain using an unknown method and obtain the right to become a disciple of Freezing Sky Clan with incredible determination and perseverance. Fang Shen looked at his little sister. He knew that she may look fragile, but in fact had an incredibly strong personality that he knew he could not compare to. He did not have the courage to challenge the chains of Han Mountain. For now, he hasn't transcended, Kang Lan whispered after opening her eyes. For now. Fang Shen frowned. But he's not lying. He can indeed cure Mu Er's injuries. Kang Lan lifted her hand and took the cup Su Ming had held previously, her voice calm. HM. Fang Shen looked at Kang Lan and said in a low tone, I've had my doubts about this. How could that medicinal concoction of his cure the injuries that even you can't heal? Kang Lan lowered her head and a desolate look appeared on her face. She closed her eyes. That's not what I meant. You. Fang Shen immediately spoke and tried to explain, but he did not know how to begin. Brother, this is my fault. But the world is a big place. There are plenty of strange people with different abilities. This Mo Su didn't seem to be lying. I can feel some of his thoughts by sitting here in his place. He's not lying regarding the healing. Kang Lan opened her eyes and the calm look returned. She looked at Fang Shen and said softly, this person is of a mysterious background. The way he drank the liquid formed by the leaves may seem simple, but in truth, I didn't even know about this until I entered Freezing Sky Clan. His actions may be stiff, but they were correct. He must have seen someone doing this before, and there are few who can do this in the land of South Morning. If it weren't because of my master's kindness, who asked me to brew this often for her, I wouldn't have learned how to do this. Fang Shen frowned, occupied by his thoughts. Also. Kang Lan placed the cup in her hands down, and an amazed look appeared in her eyes as she mumbled, he might not have transcended, but is giving me a feeling that is stronger than a normal berserker at the initial stage of the Transcendence Realm. There seems to be resentment belonging to powerful berserkers of the Transcendence Realm on him. This person might have killed people like that before. And it's not limited to one. When Fang Shen heard those words, he was stunned, and with an abrupt motion looked up at Kang Lan. If this person wasn't his little sister and someone whose berserker art he trusted, he would have definitely not believed her words. He killed more than just one berserker at the Transcendence Realm. Kang Lan closed her eyes and pressed her right hand to the center of her brows. Her form gradually faded out before Fang Shen's eyes, but after a moment it returned to normal. Kang Lan opened her eyes and a hint of exhaustion appeared on her face. There are two transcended auras of death on him. One of them is from around 50 years ago, and the aura is weak, but it hasn't dispersed. Strangely though, it's giving me two readings. One of them is from 50 years ago, and the other is from 4 years ago. I can't differentiate it. The second one is clearer. It's from around 1 year ago, but it's also very faint. Uncertainty appeared on Kang Lan's face. She could not understand it. When he heard Kang Lan's words, Fang Shen's expression became even more solemn. He knew his little sister's berserker art. This art could be said to be one of the 3 great berserker arts of Freezing Sky Clan. If it were not because Kang Lan had the talent to learn it and that her master had kindly taught her, it would have been difficult for her to obtain such an art. When Fang Shen thought of Kang Lan's master, respect blossomed in his heart. That's why I'm uncertain. He might have reached the Transcendence Realm before, but due to some accident, his level of cultivation fell. That's why he's giving me a muddled feeling, Kang Lan said softly after hesitating for a moment. If it's as you say, then the mystery around this person is even greater than I initially thought. If that's the case, I'll have to think carefully whether I should let him join. Kang Lan, go and rest first. I need to speak to the elder about this. The moment Fang Shen finished speaking, he made to leave the tower. Brother, Freezing Sky Clan won't choose a disciple from Tranquilise tribe this time, neither will they choose from Puqiang tribe. They will only take one person away, and that's Yang Fei from Lake of Colors tribe. This has already been decided, I cannot interfere with it. But the next time they take in disciples, I'll reserve a spot for Mu Er. As for Mo Su, I would suggest that you let him enter the place, but he would need someone to monitor him. If he can truly cure Mu-Er, then he can become a true guest of Tranquillise tribe, Kang Lan said in a soft voice, touching the center of her brows. Fang Shen nodded, then turned around and left the tower. Kang Lan was the only one left within the tower. She quietly sat on the stone chair and looked as if she was about to get up and leave, but after a moment of hesitation, she sat down once again. With a swing of her right hand, 3 white beast bones appeared in her palm. There were countless words on the 3 beast bones that were written down so densely that they could not be read. Those words let out a dark light and exuded an aged presence. It was clear that it was an ancient artifact. Just where did this Mosu come from? Master told me that my Sage Genesis Berserker Art 1 has reached the 7th level, which is a rare sight within Freezing Sky Clan. And now this is the first time that I can't see clearly, and it's on this Mosu. How could a person, at the same time, have 2 different? There's only one explanation to this. In this person's memories, it has only been 4 years since the first Berserker who reached the Transcendence Realm died, but in reality, it's not so. This is the first time I've encountered this. Kang Lan thought for a moment before she bit her finger and wiped her blood on the 3 beast bones. The 3 beast bones immediately sucked the blood in. The dark light around them immediately became stronger, causing the entire tower to be filled with it. Kang Lan's face too was illuminated by this dark light. If I can get to the bottom of this, perhaps it will enlighten me. There's no way that the 3 vessels of unspoken words that the master gave me won't be able to see through this clearly. A sparkle appeared in Kang Lan's eyes, and she mumbled a few complex strings of words in a low voice. These words were spoken stiffly and were difficult to understand. Anyone who heard it would have been baffled, and if they listened to it for a longer period of time, they would have been confused. Time trickled by. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a dim light began to shine in Kang Lan's eyes. The 3 beast bones before her instantly flew up and started turning rapidly before the center of Kang Lan's brows. Slowly, she closed her eyes and her body quickly faded out until she eventually seemed to disappear into the tower. A large space distortion appeared where she had been sitting. Yet this situation only lasted for the span of 3 breaths, and a drastic change immediately happened. This isn't 50 years. Kang Lan's body immediately returned to its original state from its faded-out form, and a terrified look that was rarely seen on her usually calm face appeared. Amidst that terror was shock and disbelief as well. This isn't 50 years. This is... The 3 bones before the center of Kang Lan's brows let out a bang and shattered, as if an indescribable force had come forth and put an end to Kang Lan's actions. The moment the 3 bones shattered, muffled booms reverberated in the air and all the stone-made items within the tower crumbled to dust. At the same time, the entire tower let out a groan and started cracking inch by inch until it eventually turned to ashes. Kang Lan coughed out a mouthful of blood and staggered backwards a few steps. Her petite face was pale, and she stood there stunned, as if she had lost her soul. The sudden change caused the entire Tranquillise tribe to be taken aback. All of them focused their gazes towards the tower, and they saw a few long arcs charging through the air. Some of the long arcs even came from the summits in the distance. The tribe leader of Tranquillise was the first to arrive. Beside him was an old man wearing a blue robe. The old man's eyes were bright, making all those who looked into his eyes lower their heads, not daring to look at him again. What happened? Fang Shen approached with anxiety on his face as he looked at Kang Lan. The old man frowned instead. He looked at his surroundings closely before his expression suddenly changed and became grave. There is an indescribable presence here. Han Kangzi, what happened here? Kang Lan stood in the midst of the tower's ruins and slowly closed her eyes. She only reopened them after a long while, consciousness returning into her eyes. She looked at her surroundings. The tower was once part of the mountain. Now that it was ruined, it looked like a hole was dug out in the mountain. Numerous cracks appeared on the edges of the mountain, as if the mountain was no longer stable. Her heart trembled. She fell into momentary silence and looked into the distance with a complicated expression. Over there, she saw Mosu in the crowd with Fang Mu. It was clear that the drastic change just now caught his attention. It's nothing. I just saw something I shouldn't have. Brother, I'm begging you, Please let him become a guest in Tranquillise tribe. Kang Lan did not give any explanation, but made a request instead. Once she finished speaking, she did not even look at the old man in blue robes before turning away and walking towards Su Ming standing in the distance with an exhausted air. Fang Shen was stunned. This was the first time he heard Kang Lan using that tone. He fell into silence before he whispered a few words to the baffled old man beside him. Chapter 143. What have I forgotten? Su Ming stood in the distance. He was just about to leave with Fang Mu to his temporary abode in Tranquillise tribe when his attention was caught by the sudden resounding boom that came from where the tower was. When he saw the people of Tranquillise tribe rushing over with shocked looks, together with Fang Mu, who also rushed back with anxiousness and agitation, Su Ming followed them back. He saw the tower turning to ashes, and the woman amidst the ruins. She was looking at him with a complicated gaze, and then started walking towards him. Su Ming had the black mask on his face. Everyone else could only see his eyes shining through the slits in the mask from underneath the black robe. They could not see his expression. As Kang Lan walked over, the people of Tranquillise tribe standing around Su Ming greeted her respectfully. Su Ming's gaze was collected as he looked at the petite and pretty woman before him. She was very beautiful, and there were no signs of time be seen on her face, causing people to be unable to guess her age. "Auntie," Fang Mu quickly greeted respectfully from his place beside Su Ming. Kang Lan did not seem to hear him. She looked at Su Ming with a complicated look, seemingly wanting to speak, but at the same time not. That strange expression made Su Ming wary. After a long while, Kang Lan spoke in a low tone, and there was a hint of frailty in her voice. "Brother Mo, could you tell me your real name?" A light crease appeared on Su Ming's brows. He did not speak. "If someday you remember something, you can come to Freezing Sky Clan to look for me." Kang Lan lowered her head and bowed slightly towards Su Ming. She cast a deep look at him once more, but here was no longer a complicated look in her eyes, just pity. She turned around and left. "What do you mean?" Su Ming was still frowning. The woman's strange words had not only baffled him, but for some unknown reason, an empty feeling arose in his heart. Kang Lan did not turn back, disappearing into the distance instead. She did not answer Su Ming's question. Perhaps she was still confounded by it herself. "Senior Mo, she is my aunt, Fang Kang Lan. 10 years ago, she successfully challenged the chains of Han Mountain and became the disciple of Freezing Sky Clan." Fang Mu whispered after a slight hesitation. Su Ming nodded. As he looked at the place where Kang Lan had disappeared, a bewildered look appeared on his face hidden under the mask. Tranquillise tribe was huge. Even if Su Ming was only on this particular summit, he could still feel just how big Tranquillise was. Fang Mu originally intended to familiarize him with Tranquillise tribe, but due to Kang Lan's appearance, a strange agitation rose in Su Ming's heart. He went straight back towards the lodgings given to him by the tribe and fell into silence, wanting to be alone. Fang Mu knew that Su Ming was eccentric and loved silence. Once he had people send in food and fruits, he bid respectfully farewell and left. The room was not big. Since the tribe was built on the mountain, it was not humid. Sometimes, gusts of wind would blow through, making people feel refreshed. Yet Su Ming ignored all these as he sat on the stone bed. The image of Kang Lan's pitying look came to his mind unbidden. That gaze made him puzzled, and at the same time, it also made him increasingly agitated. He could not control his agitation. For some reason, he had a feeling that Kang Lan had not told him everything. "When I was with Fang Shen in the tower, that woman should have also been there. Once I left, something happened, causing the tower to collapse. The woman was also injured. Her expression did not seem fake, and, with her status, there's no need for her to pretend before me." Just what did she mean? If someday I remember something, I can go and find her in Freezing Sky Clan. What will I remember? Su Ming could not understand it no matter how hard he thought about it. His eyes shone, and he fell into a contemplative silence. Remember something. If I turn it around, then it means I forgot something. That's why she spoke about remembering things. But what have I forgotten? He closed his eyes. His mood should not have been affected by the woman's words, but for a reason that even he did not understand, due to that sentence and that pitying gaze, he became agitated, as if he had suddenly lost his voice when he wanted to shout loudly. Su Ming closed his eyes and carefully went through everything that he could recall. He started with his slightly fuzzy memories of childhood to his memories of now. After a long while, he opened his eyes. Just a ton of lies. Su Ming laughed coldly. He was still agitated, but he forced himself to not think about it any longer and gradually immersed himself in his meditation so that he could calm down. Time passed by, and it was soon night time. Due to the fog outside, Tranquillise tribe was no longer lively as it usually was at night. It was silent instead. During this night, Su Ming tried multiple times to enter a meditative state, but only when dawn was almost upon him did he manage to calm down his heart and get rid of the agitation caused by Kang Lan's words. However, even if he did manage to calm down, the things that happened that day were buried in his heart like a seed. Sunlight should have graced the morning on the second day, but it was concealed by the thick fog, causing the land to be shrouded in darkness. Fortunately, due to the unique location of Tranquillise Tribe's summit, a person could still see clearly as long as he was on the mountain and was not looking too far away. When morning arrived, Fang Mu came. He brought with him a piece of news from his father. Su Ming was allowed to become a guest of Tranquillise Tribe and enjoy all the benefits given to the guests of Tranquillise. He would also join the group entering the tunnel of Han Mountain. Senior Mo, you don't actually need to enter the tunnel of Han Mountain. I heard that the place is very dangerous. There are only few people from the 3 tribes going in, and most of them are guests. You'll usually be battling for your life in there. The 3 tribes may appear to be in a harmonious relationship, but in truth, we scheme against each other a lot. It's especially so within the hidden grounds of Han Mountain. Fang Mu led Su Ming to the top of the mountain of Tranquillise Tribe where his father and the other leaders of the tribe waited so that they could send the next batch of people into the hidden grounds of Han Mountain. Every single time the fog of the day of eternal creation comes and the tunnel of Han Mountain is opened, a lot of people will die. You can tell me what herbs you'll need and I'll ask my father to arrange people to get them for you. As Fang Mu led Su Ming to the top of the mountain, he continued mumbling lowly. There was restlessness on his face. Though his concern was linked to his own well-being, it was still precious. A gentle look appeared in Su Ming's eyes. This young lad before him had entered his good graces during the past 4 years. It's fine. I'll be careful when I go in. Su Ming's voice was no longer aloof. He lifted his hand and patted Fang Mu's head, just like how the elder would pat his head when he was younger. Fang Mu was stunned by Su Ming's actions. Clearly, Su Ming's indifference and unsociable attitude over the years left a deep impression on him, making him rather unused to it. When he heard Su Ming's reply, he quickly overlooked what had just happened and let out a light sigh. If you've already made your decision, then I won't try to persuade you any longer. But senior, you have to be careful of the guests of the other 2 tribes. No one who enters the tunnel of Han Mountain is weak. While speaking, Fang Mu brought out a scroll of bamboo slips from his bosom and gave it to Su Ming. Senior, you've helped to heal my injuries over the years. Besides searching for herbs for you, I couldn't do anything else in return. These bamboo slips have some information pertaining to the guests in Lake of Colors and Puqiang. I hope it'll be of some help to you. When Su Ming heard the words, he took the bamboo slips. Once he opened them and looked, he saw densely written words. There were also some portraits. Some wooden shards also remained on the bamboo slips, signaling that they were carved not too long ago. Also, all the guests who enter the tunnel of Han Mountain from Tranquillise Tribe can choose a counterfeit berserker vessel. My father told me to tell you that when you choose the vessel later, remember to choose a whip. Fang Mu soon brought Su Ming to the top of the mountain of Tranquillise Tribe, his low voice never stopping for a breath. The ground was flat here, as if the top had been sliced off. The fog in the area was rather thick, though 9 figures could be vaguely seen sitting cross-legged at the center of the place. 7 of them sat surrounding 2 people in the middle. Their faces could not be seen clearly, but the presence of qi could be felt coming off them. Once he sent Su Ming to the place, Fang Mu took a few steps back and took a stand in the distance. With how strict the tribe was in regards to statuses, even if he was the son of the tribe leader, he still could not get closer in these sorts of situations. Su Ming appeared collected while walking towards the 9 people. As he got closer, a serious look appeared in his eyes. All of the 9 people here were powerful berserkers. It was especially so for the old man sitting right in the middle of the circle of the 7 people. This man wore a blue robe and his hair was white. Even if he had his eyes closed as he sat there, his presence was mighty like that of a dragon or a tiger, causing Su Ming's heartbeat to immediately beat faster. To the old man's left was the tribe leader of Tranquil East. The man built like an iron tower looked at Su Ming with brilliant eyes, and a smile appeared on his face. To the old man's right was another strong-looking man, but that man was not built tall. Even if he was sitting, he was still slightly shorter than Fang Shun, though the presence coming from him was not weaker than that of Shen Lun's. It was clear that he had already reached the Transcendence realm. Su Ming swept his gaze across the group. Among the 7 people sitting in a circle, besides the old and the slightly short man, there was also another person who had reached the Transcendence realm. This man was also an old man. He wore a black robe and had his back facing Su Ming. Tranquil East tribe is amazing. From what I can tell, there are already 3 people who are in the Transcendence realm. That old man in the blue robes is also giving me a feeling that he has surpassed Shen Lun. The chi from the others is also great. They most likely all have above 800 blood veins. Also, this shouldn't be the full strength of Tranquil East. Are the 2 people in the center the guests who will enter the tunnel of Han Mountain with me? Without even batting an eyelid, Su Ming stopped once he got closer. You're Mo Su, a cold voice traveled forth slowly. The person who spoke was a middle-aged man in red robes sitting beside the short man in the Transcendence realm. This person had an aloof expression on his face. Even with the fog in between them, the chill in his voice could still be heard as it traveled to Su Ming. Yes, he replied calmly. So you're the person who wanted to become a guest and join Tranquil East tribe halfway through, the one that made that ridiculous request to enter the tunnel of Han Mountain? Even if the tribe leader has agreed to this, a person who suddenly arrives like that must definitely have ulterior motives. He's even wearing a mask. What a joke. Unless he can prove his worth, then I won't agree to it. The middle-aged man let out a cold laugh. After his initial glance at Su Ming, he ignored him, choosing to stare at the tribe leader of Tranquil East sitting across him instead. Chapter 144. Allow me to take a look. The middle-aged man's words were sharp and echoed around the quiet mountaintop. Beside him, even though the short man who had reached the Transcendence realm had a blank look on his face, a faint smile appeared on his lips. The others did not seem to have heard the words. All of them remained silent. As for the old man in blue robes sitting right in the middle of the circle, he continued to have his eyes shut, as if he was not at all concerned with what was happening. As for the other 2 people who were surrounded, they were just as Su Ming had guessed. They were not from Tranquil East tribe. They were the 3rd batch of guests that were going to be sent into the tunnel of Han Mountain. One of the 2 people was an old man with red hair. The other was a man in his 30s. Their expressions were still, and they had their eyes closed, refusing to even acknowledge what was happening. Head of the guards. What sort of right should he have? My word is all the right he needs, the tribe leader of Tranquil East said slowly. With your acknowledgement, I trust that he doesn't harbor ill will towards Tranquil East tribe, but only a limited amount of people can enter the tunnel of Han Mountain. Because of him, Ju Yu was taken out of the agreed-upon list of 3 people who could enter. If he can prove himself stronger than Ju Yu, then I will agree to this. The middle-aged man still refused to look at Su Ming, looking instead at Fang Shun as he spoke darkly. He did not wait for Fang Shun's answer when he let out a low shout. Ju Yu, if you can win against this man, then no one can stop you from entering the tunnel. The moment the middle-aged man finished speaking, a long string of laughter appeared from the other side of the stage, which was soon followed by a big, ugly man which was about 10 feet tall walking from the end of the stage, laughing ferociously. This man did not wear a shirt, his strong body in the open for all to see. As he got closer, a strong presence of chi radiated off him, making a lot of fog around them to scatter away. His appearance made the tribe leader of Tranquil East frown. Even the 2 guests who were sitting cross-legged in the circle opened their eyes and looked towards the guest with grave expressions. With each step he took, the man's feet thundered against the ground. Once he came, He stood beside the smiling short man in the Transcendence realm and wrapped his fist around his palm in greeting towards the old man sitting in the middle of the circle. His voice traveled out like a roaring wave. "Greetings, Elder, Chief of Battle 1, Head of the Guards." While speaking, the man bowed towards the short man in the Transcendence realm and the middle-aged man in red robes. The old man in blue robes still had his eyes closed, ignoring him. Yet Ju Yu did not dare to mind. He knew about the man's status. If the Elder of Tranquil East really opened his eyes and gave him a nod, he would have been taken aback. "Ju Yu, this is the person who took your place. Go and fight against him," the head of the guards of Tranquil East, the middle-aged man in the red robes, told sullenly, pointing at Su Ming. "Head of the guards, I'm afraid I can't control myself if I attack, if I accidentally kill him." A fierce light appeared in Ju Yu's eyes, and he stared at Su Ming as if he was looking at a dead person, laughing viciously. "It's fine. I believe the tribe leader won't mind. After all, if both parties fight against each other and no one ends up dead, we can't tell whether the fight was genuine." This time, the one who spoke was not the middle-aged man in red robes, but the short chief of battle in the Transcendence realm. "Mosu, you told me before that you learned the berserker art of killing. Allow me to take a look at it today." Tranquil East tribe leader's face became sullen. They had already spoken and agreed upon what they would do about Su Ming the previous day, but now that they were about to start the ritual, his opponents suddenly counterattacked. Su Ming fell silent and did not speak. Ju Yu was stomping towards him. His body was incredibly tall, and his height far surpassed a normal person. As he came forward, it gave people the feeling of a small hill pressing down upon them. His ugly and ferocious face, coupled with the blood veins in his body expanding, turned into a great pressure. The fog in the mountain was dyed red under that flashing red light. Compared to him, Su Ming, who was frail to begin with, was far too different in height compared to the man, even with the black robes concealing his body. The two of them standing together would give people the feeling that the battle was unfair. "How dare you steal my place?" D. With a low growl, Ju Yu took one huge step forward and leapt at his opponent. He raised his right fist and banging sounds came from within his body as if his bones were clashing against each other. A shocking force erupted from his body. As he rapidly closed in on Su Ming, he threw a punch forward with a ferocious laugh. He had prepared this punch for an entire night to make sure that the moment his opponent was struck, he would have no room to counterattack. His body would explode, his flesh and blood would scatter, and Ju Yu would enjoy the feeling of this person bursting apart under his fist. In his experience, there were far too many people who died under his great strength. This frail-looking person before him would be the same. In fact, to prevent any accidents from happening, Ju Yu used his full strength the moment he struck. Behind him, a gigantic illusion appeared. This illusion was that of a black ape roaring soundlessly, charging towards Su Ming along with Ju Yu. Ju Yu has become stronger again. The eyes of the man surrounded in the circle flashed, and his expression became solemn. The old man beside him had a similar grave expression on his face. As he looked at Ju Yu charging forth with that ferocious laugh, a pensive look on his face. The head of the guards from Tranquil East, the middle-aged man in red robes, looked towards the two fighters coldly. He did not think Ju Yu had the ability to kill Mosu with one punch, but in his mind, Mosu would still struggle to avoid the attack. He would let this person know that in Tranquil East tribe, besides the elder, no one, including the tribe leader, could make the sole decision. The chief of battle beside him, the short man who was still smiling, had a different thought compared to the man in red robes. He did not have any intention to stop Ju Yu. He could not grasp the true level of this mysterious person called Mosu and hence wanted to use this chance to gauge his true ability. All of them harbored different thoughts. Even the people who remained silent looked over. Yet the moment Ju Yu closed in on Su Ming, something shocking happened. Not only did Su Ming not avoid the punch, he firmly took one step forward and shortened the distance between him and Ju Yu. The moment Ju Yu's fist rushed towards him filled with killing intent while the man laughed maniacally, fully intent on enjoying the instant Su Ming's flesh and blood exploded, Su Ming lifted his right hand and hurled his fist against Ju Yu's. A gigantic boom erupted forth. Ju Yu's body descended down from midair, while Su Ming, in his black robes and black mask, stood his ground, his clenched right fist in opposition to Ju Yu's punch. Rumbling sounds resounded instantly. Ju Yu saw blood, but that blood came from his own body. His right hand exploded, and he screamed in pain. His ferociousness turned into bafflement, and his vicious laughter turned into fear. His face was aghast. He could clearly feel a fierce presence coming from Su Ming's fist. That presence was like a force effortlessly rushing up his right hand, as if it was splitting apart a bamboo. Once it shattered his entire right arm, that force rushed into his body. The moment the force spread out, his legs lost all sense, his left arm and his entire body seemed to have disappeared, his vision was filled with red, and within that red, he saw Su Ming pulling back his right hand to sweep the black robes on his body. This was the last scene he saw. After that, everything in his world froze forever. The breathing of the two guests surrounded by the people immediately turned rapid, their eyes going wide. What happened just now was too quick for them. In an instant, Ju Yu's gigantic body crumbled inch by inch before the stranger, and a living person was gone just like that. This frightening sight made them sink into disbelief, and their gazes towards Su Ming became respectful instantly. He did not dodge, but chose to return the attack with a punch, and he even crushed Ju Yu's body. He did not use a lot of qi, nor did his footing change. It's clear that killing Ju Yu is nothing to him. No matter the place, powerful berserkers were respected. At this moment, Su Ming obtained this respect with his actions. A flash appeared in the eyes of the tribe leader of Tranquil East. A smile slowly lifted the corners of his lips, but he was also shocked. He knew that Ju Yu had the blood of the remnants of towering mountain tribe, and he had great strength. He might have only had around 700 blood veins, but with his natural strength, it was still a relatively difficult task for those with more blood veins to win against him. More importantly, Su Ming only used one punch. The pupils of head of the guards from Tranquil East shrank. He felt as if he had just been humiliated in public. He hadn't expected that Ju Yu would not even be able to handle a single punch from his opponent. He believed that even if he could withstand Ju Yu's punch and fight back, at most, he could only force Ju Yu back. He could not instantly kill him. The smile on the transcended chief of battle's lips beside him instantly froze. His pupils shrank, and a serious expression appeared on his face. His power was at the transcendence realm. He could see some things that other people missed. Fine control, and a power that belongs to a berserker vessel. This person, the chief of battle's eyes shone, but he gave up on the idea of trying to understand the stranger's strength. Su Ming dusted his robes, and he looked at the red-robed head of the guards of Tranquil East indifferently through the mask. The moment the man in red robes met Su Ming's gaze, a chill swept his heart. The moment he felt that, Su Ming abruptly bounded forward. He moved so quickly he closed the distance of less than 100 feet between them in an instant. Right before the eyes of the man in red robes, he disappeared. The man was momentarily stunned and knew that something terrible was about to happen. He quickly stood up, but the moment he did so, he froze, and his pupils shrank. He looked at Su Ming, who appeared before him at some unknown point of time, and who had his right index finger placed at the center of his brows. He could only see the mask on Su Ming's face. At that moment, he no longer found that mask hilarious. His heart was shaken, and a dumbfounded look appeared on his face. He was not the only one shocked. The transcended chief of battle was also taken aback. A glint appeared in his eyes, and he immediately circulated his qi. "Mo Su, what are you doing?" Even the tribe leader of Tranquil East was stunned, standing up quickly. He did not see how Su Ming had appeared before the head of the guards. The others were also astounded, and all their gazes were trained onto Su Ming. Su Ming's right index finger was on the center of the head of the guard's brows, whose face was currently pale. Su Ming's eyes were aloof as he looked at the person before him. "Have I the right now?" You. The heart of red-robed head of the guards from Tranquil East was currently trembling. He rarely felt such an incredible sense of danger, incoming death. The pressure exuded by Su Ming's finger made him feel as if his body and mind were about to crumble, giving him the false impression that he was facing the elder. The cold look in Su Ming's eyes also made him indubitably certain of the killing intent that would burst forth at the slightest provocation. "You have the right." An old voice slowly traveled forth. The elder of Tranquil East opened his eyes for the first time and looked at Su Ming. Chapter 145. Him. There was a profound look in his eyes, which looked like the stars in the sky at night. The moment Su Ming met his gaze, a booming sound instantly resounded in his head, and he staggered a few steps backwards, allowing the head of the guards of Tranquilliste to move forward quickly. Once he left Su Ming's control, he stood beside the elder of Tranquilliste with a pale face. There was fear in his eyes as he looked at Su Ming. "All right, Mo Su, from now onwards, you are our guest in Tranquilliste tribe. Fang Shun, give him the plate," the elder of Tranquilliste said languidly and averted his gaze from Su Ming. Su Ming was stunned, but his gaze remained calm and collected. As Fang Shun looked at Mo Su, praise appeared in his eyes. When Su Ming killed Ju Yu, he was only slightly shocked by the power within that punch, but he was not too surprised. Yet his speed made Fang Shun stunned. He could not even see Su Ming's body clearly. The pressure that came from that one finger especially made him re-evaluate his new guest's power. The moment he heard the words, Fang Shun laughed boisterously and brought out a plate from his bosom. The plate was completely white, and there was a number on it, 15. Just as he was about to hand the plate to Su Ming, the elder of Tranquilliste suddenly lifted his right hand and grabbed at the air. The plate flew towards the elder and he seized it. The number 15 was erased with his left hand, and he carved a new number onto the plate. 3. The moment they saw the number, a barely unnoticeable glint appeared in the transcended chief of war's eyes. The tribe leader of Tranquilliste simply smiled, but the people around them, especially the two guests, looked at Su Ming once again. Su Ming was slightly confused, but he had an inkling of what was going on. When he saw that no one was going to explain anything to him, he did not ask. He took the plate from the elder of Tranquilliste's hands instead and put the plate away in his bosom. "Kindred Mo, please come sit within the circle. We will now open the tunnel of Han Mountain and send the three of you inside," the elder of Tranquilliste said without hurry, looking at Su Ming. The title of Kindred was a title given to the guests within a tribe as a sign of friendliness. Su Ming wrapped his fist around his palm as thanks and walked into the circle. The two guests quickly stood up and arranged themselves with Su Ming as the head. They only sat down once Su Ming did so. "My three fellow kindred, we are not outsiders. Kindred Mo has just joined Tranquilliste tribe, so there are some things he must know. Fang Shun, tell him." The elder of Tranquilliste closed his eyes. Fang Shun nodded in agreement and swept his gaze across Su Ming and the others. His expression was grave as he spoke in a low tone. Brother Chen and Brother Dong Fang have some form of understanding towards the tunnel of Han Mountain, but Brother Mo's knowledge towards it should be limited. The tunnel of Han Mountain leads to the canyons under Han Mountain City. The area is quite big and there are a lot of strong seals within them. These seals will only be weakened when the fog of the day of eternal creation arrives. Centuries ago, Han Mountain City belonged to Han Mountain tribe. This tunnel was built by Han Mountain tribe, and the canyons are the grave of the Han Mountain's ancestor. The power of Han Mountain's ancestor is shocking. I believe all of you should have heard of it before. Laugh all you want, but Tranquilliste tribe was once affiliated to Han Mountain tribe. We may now be the rulers of Han Mountain, but we have yet to fully explore the ancestor's grave. This has to do with the seal and the short amount of time we are allowed in there. More importantly, the people of Tranquilliste, Lake of Colors, and Puqiang are affected by the seal inside and our powers are limited. Every single time we enter, only one of our own may enter from each tribe. If two of us enter, one of us will definitely die on the spot. Yet if outsiders without the blood of the three tribes enter, they will not have this limitation. This is the reason why Tranquilliste tribe is taking in so many guests. Over the years, many guests have entered the place. Some have died, and some have found serendipities for them to increase their power. A person's life and death is governed by his destiny, just as the heavens decide whether a person should be rich or poor. You are all guests in Tranquilliste tribe. We provide for all of you, and we also give you this chance. Everything that you obtain within, we will not interfere with, but there are two rules you must adhere to. 1. You must obtain at least one of the items from the list we will give you. If you can bring more of it, then we will reward you greatly. The approximate locations of these items are recorded on the bamboo slip. Choose one on your own. As Fang Shun spoke, The people by his side brought out 3 pieces of bamboo slips and handed them to Su Ming and the other two. This place is, after all, the grave of Han Mountain's ancestor. There are 2 seals inside. One of them is weakened due to the fog that comes during the day of eternal creation, which allows you all to enter the place, but the second seal is located right at the center of the canyons, and there is a tomb there. There are 3 towers outside the tomb. The White Tower belongs to Tranquillise tribe. You can go there and insert all your qi into the tower. You do not need to worry about danger after you insert your qi. Once you do it, you will be absorbed into the tower and transported back. Tranquillise tribe won't do anything that harms you. After all, this is something that will continue on for some time. Once we break the rules, no one will be willing to help us anymore. There are only 2 rules. As for the rest, everything that you obtain and the serendipities you gain lie with your fate. I can tell you that there are a lot of burial items belonging to Han Mountain's ancestor scattered in the canyons. Whether or not you can obtain them depends on your luck, Fangshan said sternly in a low voice. You are the 3rd batch of people who will enter the canyons. With our agreement made with the other 2 tribes, we can only send 10 guests into the canyons every single time we open the tunnel. A few more people will enter the place after you a few days later. The danger in the canyons stems not only from the seal on you that limits your power, but also from the other 2 tribes. Take care of yourselves. Fangshan cast a look at Su Ming. He lifted his right hand, and 3 gentle balls of light flew out from his sleeve. There were 3 berserker vessels floating inside those balls of light. One of them was a gray, dried-up twig. One was a white bone blade with numerous soundlessly screaming souls of the wronged surrounding it, and the final one was a black whip. The whip was coiled together and looked like a poisonous snake. Tranquillise tribe will reward all those who enter the tunnel of Han Mountain. These 3 items may only be counterfeit berserker vessels, but their might is great. Once the 3 of you have made your choice, we will open the tunnel and send you into the canyons. While speaking, Fangshan glanced at Su Ming once again. The black mask on Su Ming's face allowed no one to see his expression as he sat in his spot. They could only see the cold look in his eyes. The other 2 people beside him hesitated for a moment before the old man smiled and wrapped his fist around his palm before he saying, "Brother Mo, please choose first." "That's right. Brother Mo, please choose first." The other guest, the man whose surname was Chen, also spoke with a smile. "If that's the case, then I thank you." Su Ming lifted his right hand and seized the air in the direction of the whip that looked like a poisonous snake. The whip immediately shuddered and charged toward Su Ming, coiling around his right hand as it let out faint waves of heat. Once the old man and the man named Chen chose their vessels, the elder of Tranquillise opened his eyes and lifted his hands before slamming them down on the ground. At the same time, the other people did the same thing. Even the head of the guards of Tranquillise, who had grown fearful of Su Ming, returned to his post and took a deep breath before slamming his hands against the ground. Once everyone pressed their hands to the ground, the entire mountain immediately trembled and gusts of white mist came out, charging towards them. In an instant, the stage at the top of the mountain was surrounded. When Su Ming focused his gaze on the white mist, he saw that it was quickly gathering up before a large bundle of it abruptly turned into a gigantic statue of the god of berserkers. The statue of the god of berserkers was around 1,000 feet tall, and it floated in the air. It was not in the shape of a person, but a gigantic bull. On its horns were 2 bells. One of them was black, and the other white. As it materialized and moved, bell chimes echoed in the air. The moment the white bull appeared, the tribe members of Tranquillise tribe knelt down on the ground and worshipped the bull in the sky. Mumbling sounds also spread through the air. Kang Lan knelt on one knee on the ground among the crowd when she lifted her head and looked at the white bull. She knew that this was one of the 4 statues of the god of berserkers of their tribe, Heaven Bull. Even if she had become a disciple of Freezing Sky Clan and saw the many statues of god of berserkers within the great tribe of Freezing Sky, she was still respectful towards the statues within her own tribe. Yet at that moment, besides the respect she had towards this statue of the god of berserkers, she also had a complicated and pitiful feeling towards Su Ming when she saw him performing the ritual at the top of the mountain. You forgot your own memories, or perhaps, someone erased them. A shudder ran through Kang Lan's body. She remembered what she saw and her face became pale once again. The people of Tranquillese tribe who were on the mountain were not the only ones worshipping. All the people from the various mountains belonging to the tribes in the territory of Tranquillese tribe walked towards the bull and worshipped it. The gigantic heaven bull lifted its head and let out a roar towards the heavens. A strong light immediately flashed at the top of the mountain where the elder of Tranquillese and the others were. The light lasted for the span of a few breaths before gradually disappearing. Su Ming and the other 2 people disappeared with it. After a long while, the heaven bull turned back into a bundle of white mist, dissipating into the air, and everything returned to normal. On the stage at the top of the mountain, the 7 people, including the elder of Tranquillese, lifted their arms and remained silent. A few moments passed by before the white-haired elder of Tranquillese spoke with a hoarse voice. I know what all of you are suspecting. This person called Mo Su killed Ju Yu with the power of the berserker vessel within him. Right till the end, I did not feel that he used any spirit stones. He should have no connection with the remnants of Han Mountain. As long as he doesn't have any connection with the remnants of Han Mountain, then it's fine. But this person's power is strange. He hasn't transcended, yet he already has an origin berserker vessel, the art of fine control that belongs to a berserker in the transcendence realm, and his speed. The person who spoke was the chief of battle. He was baffled by what had happened. Kang Lan once said that this person might have reached the transcendence realm before, but due to an accident, his level of cultivation fell, Fang Shen said calmly, interrupting the chief of battle's words. The chief of battle cast Fang Shen a look before he fell silent. Han Kangzi's judgment is the same as mine. This person might very well be just as she said. Oh well, no matter where he came from, as long as he doesn't have any ulterior motives, we can let him stay. You can all leave now. The elder of Tranquillese spoke unhurriedly, a profound look in his eyes, as if there was an emotion hidden within that no one else knew about. The people obeyed and left. A person who caught Han Kangzi's attention. Besides him, another one appeared. I wonder if this Mo Su will be as astounding as he was. Also, I can feel his presence, from this Mo Su. The elder of Tranquillese stood alone on the stage and mumbled as an enigmatic smile appeared on his lips.